Well, welcome everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. We are in the Psychology of Eating podcast, and I'm with Kathy today. Welcome, Kathy.
Hi, Mark. It's good to be here.
I'm so glad we're doing this. And, this is our opportunity to just spend some time together and see if we can move you forward in anything that you're facing with food and body. So if you could wave your magic wand and have whatever you wanted when it came to food and body, what would that be for you?
It's probably two things. So one would be to be able to control myself with food more. So it's really dramatically different from where it was, say, 3 years ago. But I still have those moments, those days when I don't want to eat something and I do, and then I can't stop eating. And then the second one for me would be to not be so afraid of food. So I used to be afraid of food because of weight and only because of weight. And then 2 years ago, I had a heart attack. And so now the weight and the food and what I eat is even more of an issue. I'm frightened of certain food types. I don't know whether I should eat them, can eat them. So it would be to kind of lose some of that fear. And I eat very healthily, but there's still a lot of fear around food.
Mm-hmm. How old are you, Kathy?
I'm 60.
60. And for the first part of just having times when you don't feel like you have control with food and you eat something you don't want to eat, how long has that been happening for you?
I would say since I was about 15.
15. So since you were a teenager. Mm-hmm. And have you lost weight and gained it over the years?
Yeah. So I would, I would have a period where I would diet, get around to my target weight, and then almost immediately go back into a kind of binge-restrict cycle and put the weight back on. So when I had my heart attack, I was very overweight. Since I had the heart attack, I've got down to what I consider to be a normal weight, although there's still a bit of fluctuation. So it might go up half a stone, down half a stone, but it feels the right weight, around about the right weight for my height.
So since the heart attack and since getting back to a good zone with your weight, how did you lose the weight?
Do you know, it was like a switch went in my head. It was almost like I had this bargain when I was in the hospital, that if I come out of this okay, I'll eat well, I'll do everything properly, I'll look after myself. And I did that. And I didn't, for 6 to 9 months, I literally had 3 meals a day. I turned vegan. Which actually I enjoy that. I really like it. I like it more than when I used to eat meat and fish and dairy. So that wasn't an issue. And then as the weight got to where I thought it ought to be or where I wanted it to be, little things would creep in. I'd have an extra handful of nuts or, I'd eat a sort of snack bar that I'd made myself or some bit more chocolate or whatever. So, and then it starts to fluctuate. And then you get into I'm panicking about my weight. And because of my weight, I'm panicking about my health. And then that makes it, that diet restrict seems even harder.
Mm-hmm. How much weight did you lose after the heart attack?
6 stone.
6 stone. Okay. So are you married?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't. No.
How long have you been married?
33 years.
Wow. Yeah. And are you working? Are you retired?
I do work, and that's interesting too. So up until I had the heart attack, I had worked as a program director. So in big change programs in a big corporate environment, very stressful, long hours, very little time for self-care, I would say, a very masculine energy type environment, lots of goals, lots of deadlines, get things done, planning, controlling. And really, Mark, I never fully enjoyed it. And I'm not sure whether it was the work I didn't enjoy or how I let myself be in that environment. I was always very scared of, I'm going to get found out. I'm not very good at this. People might criticize me. So all of those feelings of not good enough. And for many years, probably from being about 45, I was always in the, how do I get out of this? But I was always the major breadwinner in the relationship. I earned a lot more money than my husband. He'd gone to university late after we met, so he was never going to catch up. And it felt like, how are we going to maintain a lifestyle, pay a mortgage if I don't work and keep working? And then it did get to the point almost a year before I had the heart attack where, for the first time in my life, I worked independently. So, companies would hire me to do a job and then I'd leave and they would pay me on a kind of daily rate to do that. And I'd finished a job in the year before my heart attack and suddenly I couldn't get a job. And there was all sorts of things going on in the UK. So Brexit was happening and, there was lots of upheaval, but still I couldn't get a job. And I was getting interviews and then getting turned down. And that had never happened to me. I used to say to agencies, get me in front of the client and I'll get the job. And now looking back, I think I didn't want the job. I was kind of putting up obstacles, but I was afraid of, well, how am I going to earn money? So I had retrained and done some coach training. And then I added to that, after the heart attack, I added some therapy training. So I do a mix of those now, but it's still not in a place where I would like it to be. I still struggle with the whole, I think there's a bit of identity about who am I if I'm not this big kind of, professional corporate woman? Am I really a therapist or am I just an imposter at that? Can I really coach? So there's a lot of upheaval around work and my job and what's going to happen there and where I'm going to end up with that.
And are you still in a place financially where it's challenging?
It's okay. So I have pension funding now that I can draw upon. It's not massive. I also had some insurance that paid out after the heart attack, so that's been pretty valuable. But it will become more and more challenging the longer it goes without me. I'm never going to go back to, the heady heights of the money that I used to earn. I think I recognize that, and I don't want to. I don't want to put myself through working 14-hour days, 5 days minimum a week, but sometimes 7. I don't want to do that. One of the things I enjoy now is that I can take time to make decent food. I can go out and exercise during the day. But there's still this sense that I'm not working hard enough to make enough money.
Understood. So I think that on a certain level, the heart attack sounds like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because it somehow inspired you to take care of yourself in a different way. But even more than that, it brought out a different voice in you that was already coming out. The voice called, not only do I have to take better care of myself in terms of food, and not only do I have to take better care of my body, but I need to take better care of myself when it comes to how much work I'm doing, where I'm doing it, and how much stress I have around it.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
So what I'm also hearing is that in a strange way, when what you're facing with food and work have a certain similarity. And here's what I mean. For the longest time, since you were young, since you were around 15, losing weight or being at a certain weight means you're okay and you're acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And you're good in the eyes of the world. And so that was sort of the measuring stick to, do I have self-worth? If I have self-worth, that means I'm at a certain weight. If I don't hit my target weight, I don't have self-worth. And here you are in your work life, and there's this part of you, even though I imagine you're good at what you do, because there's a part of you that says, hey, just put me in front of a potential employer and I'll get the job. But there was also this other part of you that thought, they're going to find out I'm an imposter. And am I really good at this? Mm. So to me, where the action is you and this thing called self-esteem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're at the point where self-esteem no longer really comes from the outside. It doesn't work for you. Mm. So here you are, you're at a good weight for yourself. Yeah, it fluctuates a little bit here and there, but you're okay. And you've switched to a different part of your career. You still don't have solid grounding. And you're asking the question, wow, if I'm a coach, if I'm doing therapy, am I good enough? Am I okay? Mm. And it just seems like there's a place where it's time for you to sort of cross the bridge. The bridge being the place where you're constantly in question about believing in yourself, and the place where you do believe in yourself. And maybe it's helpful to break down what believing in oneself actually means. Mm. What does believing in yourself mean to you? Like, if you believed in yourself, what would that mean?
I've spent so long trying to satisfy what I thought other people wanted from me. Mm. So, starting with my parents. So you said about being at the right weight was okay. There was a lot of, focus on weight and looks in my family, but equally there was a lot of focus on achievement. So I think for my entire childhood and kind of, young adult years, and my mum is still alive, she's in her 90s, and still I feel like I have to achieve for her to almost approve of me, to love me. Mm-hmm. And I don't say that with any, criticism of them. I don't think that, well, I know that's not what they intended. But it always felt like that. The praise came. I was good at athletics. So the praise came when I won a race, or the praise came when I did well at school and got, good grades or whatever. So it's always been, I've always sought that external validation. Mm-hmm. So when I try and think about what does it mean for me, that's quite hard. And there's something about just being at peace, just not, when you talked about the bridge, it was almost like this sense inside me of that yearning. Yes, please, can I get across that bridge and just be happy with me, happy with who I am, with what I'm doing. So I don't know. I don't think that answers your question, but it kind of waffles around it a little bit.
You are answering my question. And what I'm getting from your answer is that that's sort of the place that you're in right now. You wish to be there. And you're starting, and you've noticed, okay, there's a part of myself that is externally referenced. So in order for me to feel good about myself, this person has to approve of me, and that person has to approve of me, and society has to approve of me, my parents, my mother, whoever is in our head that we make up needs to approve of me. And so that's understandable conditioning. In a weird way, a significant number of human beings grow up with that conditioning. You win the race, you make the last shot and win the game. Yeah, we approve of you and we cheer. You get into a good school, you get a scholarship, we approve of you. You have the right weight, or you lost a bunch of weight because you dieted, you get approval. And at some point in our adult life, we must make that shift. And in order to make that shift, we first have to be aware that that shift is something that ought to be made. I keep thinking that I need this outside approval, and that doesn't work for me. That doesn't make me happy. So we have to be aware of the issue, which you are. And then in a strange way, I think the next step is accepting that that's where we are. Just sort of taking a deep breath and saying, okay, Kathy, we're in this time in life where we're crossing that bridge and we're making that transition. I don't want to be the old me. And you're not. And you're not exactly the new you that you're going to feel so great about, but you're in between worlds. And that's okay. That's a great place to be, because it means you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
You're really moving in the right direction. So far, what I hear is a success story. A heart attack is not fun. And at the same time, it almost brought out your adult voice. And what I mean by that is there's a part of you that was still living in your mother's house, in your parents' house. You need to look a certain way in order to be approved. Yeah. And when we do that, a part of us stays childlike or childish around food. Oh my God, I need approval. And the only way I'm going to get approval is to lose weight. But I love food so much, and this is so stressful to want other people's approval. Why can't I just have approval now? And seeking approval from outside of ourselves, it's just stressful because you never know what somebody's going to think about you. And we have no control over what anybody thinks about us. So it's very stressful. And how do you relieve stress? You eat. Eating is an easy way to relieve stress. So the very thing that we think is the bad guy, food, because it puts fat on my body, is really the thing we want most to help relieve our stress, because it's so easy and so good as a stress reliever. So what I'm saying for you, when you say to me, I go through these times where I don't have control with food, really what I hear is that I have these times where a part of me takes over.
Yeah.
That's not my adult voice. It's an old voice. And a part of me is checking out because a part of me just needs to relieve the stress and the anxiety of trying to be all things for all people. So in a strange way, your job is to stop being a people pleaser and start being a Kathy pleaser. And when it comes to food, here's my consider this as a suggestion to help you reframe what you think is a control issue. If you think that you have a control issue, that means, there's something wrong with me because all of a sudden I'm eating all this food and I can't seem to stop myself. How I want you to look at that is that there's another part of you that wants food because you're feeling stress and anxiety about your life in some way.
Mm.
And that food is almost necessary because it's helping you relieve the momentary anxiety or stress.
Mm.
Sometimes we use food to stress relief. So I would love for you to stop fighting that.
Okay.
I would love for you to stop fighting that, because the more you fight it, in a weird way, the more power you give to that unconscious momentum that just wants to eat.
Mm.
So instead of fighting it, we need to get to know it. I'm eating. What am I stressed about?
Mm.
What am I anxious about?
Mm.
What am I needing in this moment? I want you to start to get inquisitive about that part of you rather than think you have to fight it, because fighting it doesn't work, as you know.
Mm.
Beating up on it doesn't work. Avoiding it doesn't work. So it's when that side shows up, it's not like something's wrong with me. What's my issue? What's my problem? I need more control. Control is a noun. It's a thing when we say that. Where do I get control from?
Mm.
How do I get more of it? How do I get more willpower?
Yeah.
No, that's not the issue. The issue is, how do I slow down and notice myself and get curious about this behavior right now? No judgment, nothing wrong with you. You're not the first person to emotionally eat. You're not the first person to use food to help soothe stress and anxiety and fear. So we do that. Sometimes it works.
Mm.
Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, this is really important because I had a heart attack and food affects your health. Honestly, I think you're past the point where you eating too many nuts is going to deeply affect your health, or even moderately affect your health, or even affect your health in any way. I think what's more affecting your health is this place where you've been living a life previously where you were trying to please others and trying to look good, but felt like you were not good enough, or maybe I'm a fraud at the same time, and feeling the stress of, I have to do this job, otherwise I'm in a financial pickle. And all of a sudden, life is giving you a different opportunity. And it's more stressful for your body and your being and your heart to not be living an authentic life and not be kind to yourself. If every day I wake up and I think I'm no good, I'm not enough, I'm a fraud, that's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Imagine if you woke up every day and the first thing that happened when you woke up was your husband of 30 plus years says to you, "Good morning, Kathy. You're a fraud. You're not good enough. And you have to do this long list of things in order for you to be accepted and loved by me and everybody else." That would not be a fun relationship.
No.
But
it would have been 33 years for sure.
Right. But that's sort of what we can do to ourselves by that inner dialogue. So I think that you are very, very ready to graduate from, I want to say, living in your parents' house, thinking that you're still living in an environment where in order for you to feel good about yourself, I have to be Supergirl, whatever Supergirl means. I have to weigh the right amount. I have to have the right job. I have to be working really hard. And start to listen, as you've been doing, what's my body teaching me here? My body's been teaching me that I have to take care of it. Not because it's going to make you all love me, but I have to take care of my body because it's a body and it's my body and it needs care. Otherwise, it gets sick. Otherwise, it doesn't feel good. And if my body doesn't feel good, I don't feel good. And if I don't really attend to my body, yeah, I can die sooner than my time. Mm. So you're realizing, to me, this last weight loss that you've had, it was kind of a reckoning.
Yeah.
And you not only decided to take care of yourself with food, you started taking care of yourself around where you put your energy in terms of work. Mm. And the way I look at it, life is giving you feedback. Mm. Life is saying, okay, Kathy, slow down. We don't want to give you another full-time job somewhere where you're going to get back in to the same pattern. Mm. So you're wisely exploring other options.
I think I hear everything you said, and you're absolutely right. I think there's another dimension for me as well, which is having lived my life by everybody else's standards and everybody else's rules and trying to figure out what would earn their approval. I've lost connection with what makes me happy. You know, and I'm almost fearful of making mistakes. So one of the things is, you know, my husband and I live in a city in the southwest of England. We have a big house. We don't need, it needs quite a bit of work. We'd like to move to a smaller house, but we can't figure out, where should that house be? You know, what should we do? You know, that there's lots of things I'd like to explore. Like, you know, I love to cook and make vegan food. We cycle a lot. We'd like to think, how could we do more of that? But, you know, we've moved a lot because of work. So we lived in Scotland for a while. We lived near London for a while. Now we live in the southwest. We can't, you know, I can't get to a point where I think I would like to live here to do these things, because there's this fear in me, you know, almost like, well, is that what I want? Or will I be unhappy if I do that? It was almost easier in some way to please everybody else, because at least I could see that, you know, I could get the validate. Oh yeah, that's great, Kathy, do that.
Yeah.
I don't know what Kathy wants.
Yes. That's a scary place to be. I truly understand. And it's the only place for you to be right now, because when you allow yourself to be in that place, because that's where you are, and it's a rightful, righteous, good transition to go from, hey, I'm pleasing everybody else, to, wait a second, this is about pleasing me. And this is a new conversation for you. The new conversation of, what does Kathy want? What's going to please you? It's just very new. So it's understandable that you're not sure, because you've been using something else as your guiding star for so long. So all I'm saying is, it makes perfect sense to me that you're not sure. Mm. And it makes perfect sense that you would be afraid of doing the wrong thing or doing something that you're going to decide that you don't like. But what a good challenge to have. What a good problem to have, because now it's about you. Now it's about you and your partnership, because you're in partnership, and, you know, where one of you goes, the other goes. And now you have the ability to start asking that question, and you have the power to make some moves. So all I want to say is, it's a great place to be. And I think sometimes our task, our lesson in life, is to learn how to get more comfortable with uncertainty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know exactly what I want. You've already said a few things that you're clear about. Hey, we don't need this big house. Hey, I want to have more time to cook, to cycle. Okay, that's some clues. So you can keep gathering information and keep being in the question. You can explore. You can sit down and Google around and look at different cities, look at different areas that you might want to be in, where there's maybe a few more country roads to do some nice cycling.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll sell your house and rent somewhere for a little while just to see. As opposed to immediately buying somewhere else. All I'm saying is you get to live your life now. And I don't know that there's any mistakes here. I think it's all you try something out. You see if it works for you. And if it doesn't work, then you stand by yourself. Okay, that didn't work. Or that's not exactly what I wanted. How do we pivot? So creating the freedom to be able to do that, if you can work from different places, that's very convenient. So, it's interesting because concern around food and weight relative to health, on the one hand, there's the part of you and the part of us that's simply afraid to die. Like, oh my God, I don't want to die. And I see this happen a lot for people. They don't pay attention to their weight or their body in any way. And all of a sudden they go to the doctor and the doctor says, if you don't lose weight, you're going to die. The doctor scares them. And then they come back from the doctor and say, oh my God, I got to lose weight. I have to do this now. And all they're saying is, I am now officially afraid to die because somebody really brought out the fear of death in me, which all humans have. So that person is now being motivated to lose weight out of a fear of death. Now, for many people, not all, for some people, I'm going to say for some people, the reason weight comes on is because we're not living our real life. We're actually afraid to live our real life. So I do what people tell me to do. I do what I think is people pleasing. And then it's easy to turn to food when I'm not feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, in a strange way, from my perspective, your fear of death doesn't matter so much. It's a built-in feature of all creatures, all humanity. We don't want to die. I don't want you to be motivated by a fear of death. Oh my God, I shouldn't eat these peanuts. I'm going to die. Oh my God, I ate too much. I'm going to die. Focus of your energy should be on, how do I want to live? And what you're noticing is there's certain fears around living.
Yeah.
But it's way more important to focus on what are my fears of living than my fears about dying. You can't do a whole lot about the dying piece. We're going to die someday. Yeah, take good care of yourself. Exercise, eat good food. Got it. Very simple in concept. Sometimes it's just about developing our courage to live. As you develop more courage to live, the whole fear of death thing takes its rightful place, which is, sure, I don't want to die, or I don't want to die before my time. So yeah, I do my best to take care of myself, but we could die at any time anyway. I know people who have been exercising and following great diets and they died young.
Yeah.
And I've had relatives who had the worst diet you could imagine and smoked and drank, and they lived into their 90s. So there's no guarantees here.
No.
So yeah, there's going to be fears coming up for you sometimes when you notice yourself eating a food that you think you shouldn't eat. But instead of going into fear, oh my God, I'm going to die, and oh my God, I can't control myself around this food that I said I shouldn't eat, that's the moment to get curious. Why is this coming up right now? It's learning how to pause in that moment and examine yourself and ask yourself, what else would serve me in this moment other than food? And sometimes you're going to eat. And sometimes you're going to overeat. And then your job is to stay as awake and conscious when you're overeating that food. Just stay awake. Okay, I'm eating this. I'm going to eat it. I can't stop myself. Let me at least now get present because I'm wanting to eat this food so I can stress relieve. Well, let's do it. Breathe, relax, and enjoy what you're eating.
Yeah.
I mean that. And when you do that, it actually bursts some of the bubble on the fight. And you're actually choosing to do the thing you're doing anyway, and it strengthens your choosing muscle. So the next time a moment like that comes up, you actually have more ability to choose in a different direction. Because we're not afraid of our own impulses. You're learning to be in relationship with those impulses.
Yeah. When you said about having the courage to live my life, that, I felt that right in my chest, and it was almost like I'm afraid to live my life, and then I'm afraid of not living my life. It's almost like this huge fear that I will die and I won't have lived the life that I wanted.
Yes. That is a great motivator.
Yeah.
That's a great motivator. I believe that when you had your heart attack afterwards and you made that bargain that if I survive, I'm going to take care of myself, you decided, I want to live my life. A part of you decided that. And now that you're alive and you've reshaped your body, now you're faced with what's really happening. It's not about you having the right weight. It's about you living your life. When you're living your real life, the weight takes care of itself. When you're being the person you're meant to be, the weight takes care of itself. The eating starts to take care of itself. So this is the place you're in. You're summoning the courage to live your life. And you're asking yourself the question, what exactly is that for me? So part of it's just having the courage to ask the questions, which it sounds like you're starting to do.
Yeah.
What's going to make me happy? What's going to make me feel like this is a good life and it's worth living? And it is scary. Because we get used to certain things. Yeah, if I'm in this job and they're paying me a lot of money, even if I'm working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, at least I know I got a paycheck.
Yeah.
Might be killing me, but at least I know I got a paycheck. So that's where courage comes in. I think it's the courage called, if I live my life, life is going to step up and meet me. You have to do your part for life with a capital L to do its part. And I think you're doing that. And I think it's just a matter of you're in this potent place right now where you're really looking in the mirror and going, what's my life? What do I want my life to look like? And it's a scary question, but it's a powerful question. The fear you experience is also a veiled form of excitement.
Yeah, I'm feeling that more now.
Yeah.
So as you said to me, you're in this place, suddenly, and accept that I'm in that place, but I'm facing forward. Just that reframe starts to shift it. It starts to make me move from abject fear into a little bit of excitement, some curiosity, it can be whatever I want it to be.
Yes, absolutely. And I always believe that life wants us to live our real life. I think that's the natural order of things. I don't think any of us or any creature is born into this world and you're born a bear, but yeah, bears are too big and they're too fat and a bear would rather be a dog. So let's try to be a dog if I'm a bear. No, that's not, no. If life is giving you that you're a bear, then you be a bear and you be the best bear that you can. And you are who you are. And sometimes who you are, it's in there. We got to start dialoguing with her more. We got to ask her questions. Hey, what do you want? What's going to make you happy? What's going to make you want to get up in the morning? What's going to make your life worth living from now until the time you die? You can't go back to your old life.
No, I can't.
Yeah. So you're clear about that. So there's no turning back. That's so good to be in that place where there's no turning back. And, there was a book that was written, it's been a long time ago in the United States. And I want to acknowledge that I never read the book, but as soon as I heard the title, I thought, I don't even need to read the book. So the title of the book is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways.
Yeah, I read the book, but a long time ago.
I haven't read the book, but I think it's brilliant. The title says it all. I don't care what the book says or doesn't say. You just delivered the message to me. And I think that's a big piece of it. Is oftentimes we're conditioned to believe that fear ought to stop me. Fear is good. Fear is built into the system because there are certain things you and I should fear. If a lion's chasing you, go into fear because that's going to make you run. If you're about to cross a busy intersection and cars are moving really fast, be afraid. Therefore, you're going to be more cautious. So fear is helpful because it helps frame a situation and put it in perspective. But that doesn't mean don't cross the street. It means just be aware. So, there's fears coming up for you about what is my real life? And if I make a decision, is that going to be the right one? Sure. Those are natural fears. Don't let them stop you. Just bring them with you. Yeah, I'm afraid of this. Understandable. And there's also the part of you that's really excited about it.
And I liked what you said about I get to choose and try out. And if it doesn't work, I choose something else.
Yes. So I would love for you to consider, when it comes back to food, that food is a secondary player in your health right now. I know you've said to me, I get afraid if I eat this and I eat that it's going to affect my health. So I'm just giving you what I think is the target I wish for you to aim your arrow at, which is don't give food so much power anymore. Yes, food impacts us for sure. But for you, I want you to put it in perspective. You've already shape-shifted your body. You've already made a move. You've changed your diet. You're in the zone where I'm going to guess 90% of what you do food-wise is good for yourself, is good for you. Yeah, maybe 10% not always so good. That's fine. That 10% where you deviate is not going to kill you. If you believe it's going to kill you, then you're going to be in more fear and more stress and more anxiety. And arguably the two biggest factors that impact cardiovascular health are diet and stress, not in that particular order. Mm. It could be stress and diet in that order.
Yeah.
So, and stress means fear, anxiety, self-attack, self-hate. Stress is often self-chosen. Mm. Meaning, oh my God, I ate this food. It's going to kill me. I seldom hear stories where somebody eats something and it kills them.
Yeah.
No thing, very seldom does it happen that somebody eats a thing and it kills them. And if somebody does die after a meal, it's because they were on their way to dying anyway. Mm. And they could have just taken a long walk or a long drive, and that would have put them over the edge. So all I'm saying is one thing that you eat here or there is not going to kill you.
Yeah.
Put food in its rightful place. And you've done that. So acknowledge that you put food in its rightful place and put your energy into what's going to help you live, as opposed to, oh my God, this is going to kill me. What's going to help you live is you living your real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You keep asking those questions. Who is the Kathy that I want to be? And what do I need to do to bring her out?
Mm. Yeah, I like that. That's a whole different way of thinking about it. And
it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm wondering if you can sum up just some of the key takeaways for you from this conversation.
I think the first one is being at that, almost that bridge, between kind of the old me that was, doing everything to gain approval, to please everybody else, to please society, and moving into the place where I can live the life that pleases me, the life that I want. Mm-hmm. I loved what you said about, when you're living your real life, then the weight takes care of itself. I do believe that. I think, I think I knew that as soon as you said it. It was like, yes, that, I knew that resonated really within me. Mm-hmm. And the fear thing, that actually being so afraid of food and, holds me in that place instead of allowing me to just leave that fear and focus on, how do I move forward? How do I live my real life?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kathy, so well done. I think we got to some good places.
We did. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, congratulations and so much good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
All right. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Take care, my friends.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care. And remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.